Assalamu Alaikum and welcome back to my channel. In the previous video, we learned how to add suppliers, and we also created some new models like supplies, SupplyDetail, and stock. So today we are going to implement them. So I'm going to close all the tabs and add a new view. And I'm going to name it as add new supply view or add supply view. Now I'm going to get the help from ChatGPT to design the window. Okay, so I'm going to provide the prompt. I need a window design which has 4 rows. Row 1, a text block, supplier, and a combo box having a list of suppliers to select one. Row 2, text blocks for item, quantity, purchase price. Item should be loaded in combo box to select one. Quantity and purchase price should be entered in text box. Row 3 contains the data grid view of added items with quantity and purchase price. Row 4 has total supply charges and save button. Okay, that's it. I am going to copy this code. Okay, you can see the design is ready. I need to change a few things. Add new supply and supplier section. Okay, we have suppliers and selected supplier. So I'm going to add a view model. Add a new class. I'm going to name it AddSupplyViewModel. I'm going to make it public. This is going to be inheriting base view model. Then we have private observable collection of suppliers called supplier suppliers. Then I'm going to have a public collection for supplier called suppliers. So when this supplier is fetched, supplier is returned, and when value is set, supplier's value is set. On property change of suppliers. Okay. In the same way, I'm going to add selected supplier, private supplier, selected supplier, and public supplier, selected supplier. Get return selected supplier, set this. Okay. Next, we move on to items. So we have items and the selected item. So private observable collection items, and public observable collection of items. Next we have selected item. That's it. Next we have quantity and purchase price. So I'm going to add private double quantity and private double purchase price. Okay. Next we have add items. Added items. Okay, I should rename it to supply details. So I'm going to add private observable collection, supply detail, supply details, public. Okay, that's so this data grid view will be containing our supply details. It has name and quantity and purchase price. So we go back to our supply details model and we have item ID. So when an item is added into the supply, this is gonna be item name, because supply detail model doesn't contain name directly. It will be containing an item, and then we can access the name of the item. So therefore it should be item dot name. Then there is quantity and purchase price. Quantity and purchase price. That's okay. Then we have total supply charges here. Okay. Total supply charges. Private double total amount, total amount. So I'm going to call it total amount. Total amount. And then we have save command. Public I command, save command, get. Okay, now we also need a button here. So when we fill out these information, we should have a button here to add details here. So just after the purchase price text box, purchase price text box, I'm gonna add a button, content, add item, and command should be binding add supply detail command. That's it. So we have a button here. So when it is pressed, it will add a new supply detail into the data grid view. So I go back and add a new command, public IE command, add supply detail command, get. Then we have the constructor here. I'm gonna add the namespace for commands using Inventory Management System PC commands. Okay, and this should be save supply and can save supply, add supply detail, can add supply detail. Also, when this window is loaded, like it should first access the database to load all the suppliers and items. So for that, I'm gonna use private void load suppliers. So inventory DB context DB equals new inventory DB context. Suppliers, new observable collection supplier DB suppliers. That's good. And then I'm gonna add private void load items the same way. Okay, that's it. Now we define save supply and can save supply, then add supply detail and can add supply detail. So I have private boolean can save supply, object parameter return selected supply. No, there is no selected supply. So I'm gonna check for supply details count should be greater than 0. Oh yeah, selected supplier. Selected supplier should not be null. And supply details count should be greater than 0. That's it. Then we have save supply. So in the save supply logic, we're going to define a new supply. We're gonna add the supplier. So in the supply, we're gonna add selected supplier, selected ID. Then we have the date. I go to supply and see date. date of the supply is date time now, and then supplier date, then we have supply details. So there are two ways. I just save the supply and then I save the supply details manually, or I can just say supply details equals supply details. So this will automatically add all these things. Okay, once we saved supply and supply details, now we need to update the model. So I'm going to use for each loop for each. So for each supply detail in supply details, I'm gonna save the stock. I'm gonna remove this. New stock equals new stock. So here the I go to stock model, so stock has item ID. So item ID equals supply detail item ID. Then we have supply detail ID. Supply detail ID equal supply detail ID. Then we have stock value. So the stock value is equal to quantity. Then we have, okay, that's it. DB stocks, add new stock, DB, save changes. And that's it. At the end, we display the message box. Supply successfully saved. Okay, now we go to add supply detail command. Private will can add supply detail, and selected item should not be null, quantity should be greater than 0, and purchase price should be greater than 0. Then private void add supply detail object parameter. Then what we're gonna do is create a new supply detail. So variable supply detail, new supply detail, and item ID is selected items item ID, quantity is quantity, purchase price is purchase price, and then I'm gonna add it to supply details, add supply detail. Okay, now we need to update the total amount. So by default, total amount is 0. specify it here. I should specify it here. Total amount is 0. Also, I'm going to load items and load suppliers. So once we add supply detail here, I need to update the total amount. So I'm going to use private void refresh total. So total amount equals supply details, sum of all supplies details. And I'm going to put it in here. So when supply details changes, I'm going to check if value not equal to null, refresh total. That's it. Okay, now there's one more problem. And the problem is, if this gets saved into database, but while saving this, some kind of exception or error occurs, then this will be saved into the database successfully, but stock won't be updated. So if this happens, we would have to delete this and add it again with stock. So what do we want here is we save everything together, or we save nothing. So to achieve this, we're going to use the database transactions. So I'm going to use the transaction variable transaction equals db database begin transaction. Then we save this db save changes. So when we save these changes, supply details would get the IDs. So as you can see that this is the database ID, so it is automatic, so it will only be assigned when the data is stored in the database. So before saving the supply detail into the database, we won't get the ID, so we save it so that we get the supply detail ID, which is further used here as a foreign key. So that's why it is important to save this here, and then we're gonna save them here, or I should say remove from here and save it here at the end. Okay, so once everything is done, I'm gonna commit the transaction, and if any error occurs, I'm gonna use try catch block catch. So when exception occurs, I am going to roll back the transaction, so nothing gets saved into database. Also, I'm gonna show the message box error occurred, and then I'm gonna return. So execution stops here. Okay, that's it. Now we're gonna view this to the user. So I go to main window here, add a new button. I'm gonna name it BTN add supply add supply. Row is the first one, column is the third one. And once it is clicked, I create a new event. Then I go to coding, and I'm gonna add supply view, show dialog, and then inside the coding of this view here, I'm gonna connect the view model here. Add supply view model, view model equals new add supply view model, and this data context view model. Okay, so I'm gonna start it, and I hope everything goes right. Add supply. Okay, so here we're gonna select the supplier, and then I think some kind of error occurred and the execution stopped. Okay, so selected supplier. Let me debug it. Add supply. Okay, so it says selected supplier is not null, but supply details count greater than 0, returning an error because supply details are null. So how can we count them when they are null? So we go here and initialize them. So supply details, new supply details. I'm gonna start it again. Add supply. Select the supplier. Select the item. I'm gonna add hat, quantity 100, purchase price 2, and add. Why is it not working? Okay, so it is saying add supply detail command is not binding correctly. So I recheck it. I command add supply detail command. Then I go to the view, add supply detail command. That's good. Then we go here. everything seems to be fine to me. I'm gonna copy it. And paste it. Okay. So add supply detail command. Okay, so I have an extra M here. That's why it is not mapping with the name used in the view. I'm going to start it again. Add supply. I'm going to select the supplier. I'm going to select the 10 or 100. Purchase price is 2. And add. Okay, so it is added, but the name is not displayed here. So we go to the item model and item name. Okay. So we are adding the name. Okay, so we didn't map the item. So item equals selected item. Okay, I'm gonna hot reload it. Go back here. Add supply. Add 100 to add. Okay, now this is working. I'm gonna add jacket 100 20 add. Okay, you can see I have added hat and jacket 100 units, and then this is not updated. I saved this. Changes saved. Let me see why total didn't get updated. Total amount. Refresh. Total. So I'm going to remove it from here because supply details are not getting changed. They are just being updated. So the items are being added, but the supply details entirely, the collection is not being changed. So I'm going to put it here instead of there. So refresh total. Also, the record we saved, I'm going to confirm it. So I'm going to open SMS and see if the changes were saved into the database. So I'm going to look into the stock and supply details and supplies. So you can see in the supply we have added a supply And in SupplyDetail, we have two details: item ID 6 and 7, purchase price 2 and 20, quantity 100 and 100. And in the stock, we have the stock. Okay, now we go back and add another record. Add supply, water bottle, 200, 1, add. So you can see this is now being updated. I'm gonna save it. Successfully saved here and re-execute it. So you can see 200 units of water bottle. Okay, now we need to view this, show this stock value to the user here. So for with each item, I want the stock to be shown here just after the price. So let's do that. So I close everything from here. Then we go back to our items view model. And before this, we need to make sure that we have stock value element here. So I'm going to add another parameter or property, which would be public double stock value get set. And I'm also gonna make this not mapped. So I'm gonna specify this is not mapped. So this means that I don't want this stock value column into our database. So this is outside the database. This is just for the view. This is not meant for database. Okay, so I go back here and I look for the method where I am loading the items. So loading the items. So here I am loading the items. So when we are loading the items from database, I'm gonna load the list to list, and then I'm gonna select from the items in such a way that stock value it should be like this. Okay, so stock value is db stocks, where the stock item ID equals to this item's item ID and sum their quantity. So it's stock value. And also I'm going to specify default if empty. So if there is no record regarding this item in the database, I'm going to specify 0. Sorry. Stock select the stock value, and then I'm going to specify if empty, and then I'm going to sum everything, and then I'm gonna return that element. And okay, what am I missing? And to list. To list. Like that. This goes inside here. Okay. I think it's ready now, and I'm gonna show it just in the view, items view, just after the price column. Just after the price column, I'm gonna show the let me copy this, paste it, and stock, and I write stock value. I'm gonna run this. Sorry, I just want to go to items, and you would see I have hat, I have jacket, and I have water bottle. But why is it repeating? Okay, so I checked my recording, and this was happening before this. So when we were adding the supply, it was happening back there. So I'm going to close it. I'm going to open the let me show you once again. So I'm going to, so you see here, let me add a mango juice here. So I go to supply and add a mango juice here. Mango juice quantity, let me add 2. For price 3, add, and then save. So it's successfully saved. Then I go back to check, and you'll see the mango juices again repeated. So this is happening in the supply details, add supply. So I'm gonna go to add supply, and the reason is when we are supplying the supply details in the supply, it is saving the items. It is actually creating these items because the items are not mapped inside it. So to solve this problem, I'm going to add it manually. So variable new details, supply details, supply details, new supply detail. So first it is item ID. So item ID is equal to, sorry, I'm gonna loop over it. For each variable supply detail in supply details. Then supply detail, supply detail item ID equals supply detail item ID, and purchase price. Let me create a new variable for that. Supply new detail equal supply detail. And then I'm going to use that. So I'm going to copy everything from supply detail into new detail, and then I'm going to add it to database so that it doesn't create new items. So let me run this again. Also, I'm going to use that here in new detail. Sorry. And also, I'm going to put this in here. We don't need to run the loop again and again. So once we are running it here, we're gonna save the stock here. So new detail, new detail, new detail. Okay, that's it. We add another item. So let me remove the extra added first. So I go here in the items, add it. So I'm gonna delete these repeated records. Okay, it says they appear in other records, so I'm going to remove them from there first. So I go to supply details, I remove them, all of them. Okay, first I need to remove the supply stock. Go to stock, I remove the stock, then I remove the supply details, Then I remove the supply. Okay, that's it. Add supply from Abbas. Okay, items. We need to delete the items. Okay, delete. Okay. Hat, 100 hats, 2, add. Then I'm gonna add jackets, 100 jackets for 20. Then I'm gonna add mango juice, 100 for 3, and save. Okay, some kind of error occurred. Okay, here I need to add the new detail. Okay, this was the error causing. So once it is added, its supply detail is updated, and then we can use it here. So I'm going to run this again. Jacket, 100 for 20. Okay, let me see what the exception is. So I'm gonna add new line and exception message. Run this again. Add supply. I'm gonna add only one item here. 100, 10. Okay, it's successfully saved. I think I didn't build the last one, so it was working fine. So let's add more hats for 30. Add jackets for 20. Add, and supplier, save. Okay, so this is happening when we are adding multiple items. So I go back here, and now we go back to our DB context, and let's see what we have specified here. So the stock has required many items, and stock has supply details with many, has foreign key. This is good. Okay, we didn't save it here, so we need to DB save changes so that this gets saved into database. As I told you earlier, it gets the ID and then it is linked here. Okay, let's run this again. Cap, 100, 20, add, jacket, 20, add, hat, 20, add, save. Okay, it's saved. I go back and check, and here you can see hat 200 stock, cap 100, jackets 100. Now I'm gonna add water bottle and mango juice. So water bottle 50 for 2, mango juice 100 for 4, save. Okay, now it's working. And 50 water bottle and 100 mango juice. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you understood how to work with multiple models into a single view model, and how the database transactions work. In the next video, I will be working on other things, and I will talk in detail about why we added details and stock separately, and how it's gonna help us when we're going to measure the profit and loss at the end of an accounting period. So until then, keep learning. Allah Hafiz.